Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Statement Podcast. So, this episode has been necessitated by the events that took place in Harare yesterday at ZANU-PF headquarters. So, it was a press conference which was presided over by the party spokesperson, who is Christopher Mchangwa. So, in this episode, I am going to give my reaction to what Christopher Mchangwa said, and also Kodakwashe Tagur responded, and I'm going to highlight how he responded, and then I'm going to give my reaction to the whole episode, its historical background, where we are today, what does it mean for ZANU-PF's tussle or a war to replace Emmerson Mnangagwa when his term ends. All right, so ZANU-PF has taken a tough stance against businessman Kodakwashe Tagur, whom they accuse of using his financial muscle to buy power within the ruling party. Party spokesperson Mchangwa declared that ZANU-PF will not tolerate attempts to secure influence through money. Chris Mchangwa confirms here that Tagur's money was made through ZANU-PF and that he shouldn't use it to foist himself onto the party's echelons of power. Responding to a journalist's question in Harare, Christopher Mchangwa said, and the question from the journalist was whether ZANU-PF would not benefit from Tagur joining the party leadership. And Mchangwa, in a scornful way, said ZANU-PF made Tagur, and Tagur can't be bigger than the party. He told the journalist that Zimbabwe should stop picking heroes from the streets, referring to Tagur, and foist them onto the people. Mchangwa said Tagur can't buy his way into the party, as the party will simply wave the rule book in his face. In other words, what Mchangwa is trying to say is Tagur cannot rise through the ranks without satisfying constitutional requirements, the ZANU-PF constitution, that is. He further also in a way mocked Tagur for being foolish to the extent of thinking that it was feasible to buy everyone, including ZANU-PF cell members, using cars. Effectively, Mchangwa suggested Tagur's political naivety, his foolhardy belief that buying his way into Harare province could pave way for his ascension to the top leadership of ZANU-PF. So probably Tagur's Central Committee bid may be dead in the waters. Now, Mchangwa also warned about the money he is flaunting to behave, or else the screws will be turned on him. So that is the gist, the summary of what Christopher Mchangwa said. Now, Tagur quickly responded through the presidential land tenure X handle. And he said the recent commentary aimed at the handler of the handle. Had this to say, the recent commentary aimed at Dr. Kodakwashe Tagur remarks, which have not only misrepresented his legacy, but disrespected his unwavering contributions to both ZANU-PF and the nation at large. Dr. Tagur is not new to ZANU-PF. His involvement spans years of active support, partnership, and strategic investment into programs that have benefited Zimbabweans directly. To suggest that he seeks to buy influence within the party or use personal resources to manipulate structures is both unfounded and ungrateful. Let us be clear, true patriots, they said, true patriots don't parade their allegiance, they demonstrate it. Dr. Tagur's role within this movement is one of substance, not spectacle. His actions speak to the upliftment of communities, the support of national goals, and the stability he helps reinforce during difficult times. And they said they reject the notion that that private sector involvement equates to manipulation. Instead, they affirmed that it's a vital pillar of progress. And leaders like Dr. Tagur embody what it means to serve Zimbabwe outside of fanfare, or a political ambition. They further said, so let us not dishonor what has been built. Let us not allow envy or a misunderstanding to stain a legacy rooted in loyalty and in nation building. And they further on concluded by saying Dr. Tagur is not a symptom. He is a solution, and Zimbabwe deserves to be led by those who serve first and speak second. So that was their response to the presser by Christopher Muchangwa. So before I go into my reading of events, I need to disclose and remove in the way the confrontational history between Tagur and Muchangwa. So this originated, I say, around 2013 in the case of Mine, Oil and Gas Services, colloquially known as MOGS, versus Sakunda, represented by Tagur. So since 2013, Mine, Oil and Gas Services, MOGS, a Johannesburg-based company backed by South Africa's Royal Bafokeng Group, has sought to build a second pipeline or take over operations of the existing Feruka pipeline in Zimbabwe. Now, Christopher Muchangwa and Eddie Cross, they emerged as the public champions of the MOGS proposal, arguing that Sakunda Holdings, controlled by Tagur, had monopolized the fuel import sector and imposed high prices. The strategic pitch and political maneuvering was such that after the 2017 coup, the operation in Tolegas, Muchangwa and Cross, they met Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, alleging that Tagur and Trafigura were importing fuel duty-free, overcharging consumers and undermining Zimbabwe's economy. Now, following Chiwenga's recommendation, the matter was escalated to President Mnangagwa, triggering an internal investigation. Two members scrutinized Tagur's fuel transactions from 2010 to 2017 to verify consistency in pricing. Right, the president's investigative team found that Trafigura imports via Sakunda, their imports via Sakunda were paying duty. Fuel prices were competitive, and Trafigura was a major financier of government initiatives. And this exposed Muchangwa and Cross claims as unsubstantiated. Now, MOG's plan included offering Zimbabwe $22.7 million loan in exchange for a 25-year lease of the pipeline and shareholding. Simultaneously, that's the point when Tagur raised $17.7 million at 6% interest to finance a competing offer, effectively winning government's confidence. Now, initially, Muchangwa even attempted to court Tagur, offering him a stake in the pipeline while securing MOG's involvement. Tagur reportedly declined those overtures, which marked a turning point. It became a target instead of an ally. Muchangwa is said to have used his leverage and personal income from chrome mining, about $200,000 a month, to cast aspersions over Tagur's business and reputation. So allegedly, if Muchangwa and Cross had succeeded in brokering the MOG's deal, they would have earned $2.5 million each. So let's go then to my reading of the whole situation as it unfolds today. This is just my initial reaction. The situation is still unfolding, as you can see. So I think Muchangwa's rebuke is unusually direct and politically calculated. Muchangwa's statement is not just a warning, it's a public dress down of Tagur. He essentially accuses Tagur of attempting to buy political power within ZANU-PF, misjudging the party's internal culture and rules. Now, this forgets that his wealth and position are products of the party, not merit or entrepreneurship. This is classic ZANU-PF gatekeeping, a signal to other elites that power must flow from the party, not the wallet. Then secondly, I think this is admission of state-created crony capitalism. Unintendedly, he have admitted that some have always labeled Mchangwa is motor mouth because when he starts speaking, he doesn't know when to stop. And sometimes he end up exposing things that were not supposed to be exposed. Or maybe you wanted to expose that. Right, Muchangwa inadvertently, I think he confirms what many critics have said all along, that Tagur was manufactured by the system. A made man or a created man used to loot state contracts and enrich the elite. He is not a self-made businessman, but a middleman in ZANU-PF's patronage network. This validates long-standing accusations that Zimbabwe's economy has been captured by political capitalists, where loyalty, not skill or innovation, breeds wealth. And number three, I think Tagur's response reeks of patriotic corporates speaking, but in a defensive manner. His response is classic damage control, dignified, emotional, but defensive. He claims years of ZANU-PF support to ZANU-PF anti-national programs. He positions himself as a behind-the-scenes nation builder, not a political climber, and subtly accuses Muchangwa of being envious or ungrateful. But Tagur's statement doesn't refute the key accusation that he is trying to buy a seat, or he was trying to buy a seat in the Central Committee using money and cars. That silence is telling. And then underneath the clash lies a larger battle, the old guard versus new money. This is number 4. This isn't just about two men, it's about who gets to wield influence in ZANU-PF. Muchangwa represents the old guard and war veterans and party purists who believe they earned their power through ideology and liberation credentials. Tagur represents new oligarchy capital, technocratic, transactional, but lacking in party roots or wartime legacy. We know how this is important to ZANU-PF. This is a proxy war for control, I would say, of ZANU-PF's post-Mnangagwa era, of succession and of Zimbabwe's political economy. And there was also a threat in Muchangwa's presser. He said BF or the screws will be turned. Now, this is a clear warning that Tagur's business empire, propped up by opaque deals and settling tenders, is vulnerable. It signals that if he pushes too hard, the party can cut him off or even prosecute him. It is also a warning to other wealth elites. Loyalty without deference is dangerous. Now, I have also, I think, what I could call a strategic interpretation, which I think in all these things that are playing out, targeting Tagur is a strategy to smoke out Emmerson Mnangagwa, because Tagur has been fronting the ED 2030 Anenge Achitonga project. Now, this isn't just about Tagur's money or ambition. This is a political chess. You don't slap the hand, you slap the glove, and then the hand will come out of the glove, and you will tell whose hand is that. Now, Muchangwa is beating the dog, hoping the owner comes out barking, and if Mnangagwa is indeed the owner, then this is not just a party rebuke, it's an open declaration of internal war. So Tagur here is just a proxy. In ZANU-PF's internal power games, direct attacks on the big men, in case Mnangagwa, in this case against Mnangagwa, they are very rare and dangerous. But Tagur is seen as Mnangagwa's economic enforcer, his wallet and trusted proxy. So by attacking Tagur's political ambitions, Muchangwa might be challenging Mnangagwa's hidden hand, without naming him directly, that is. Now remember, a few months ago, after Geza's call to demonstrations, there are some Mnangagwa loyalists who like Daniel Garwe, they openly attacking gays as handlers, and they didn't name them by names. But I believed then, and some they also believed that it was a direct attack on Chiwenga. They thought Chiwenga is the handler of Geza, was, and probably even now, still the handler and protector of Geza. So this is a case of beat the dog so the owner shows his face. This is classic political strategy. You attack the lieutenant to provoke the general. If Mnangagwa stays silent, he risks looking weak or a complicity. If he defends Tagur, he exposes his hand and confirms the political alliance, or even a succession plan involving Tagur. This move forces Mnangagwa to make a choice, distance himself from Tagur and preserve the party's unity, or defend Tagur and risk sparking an open rebellion or factional resistance within ZANU-PF. Also, I think Muchwangwa may be signaling a rival faction strength in this case. It's possible that Muchwangwa is not acting alone. He may be speaking on behalf of a faction that fears Mnangagwa. That fears that Mnangagwa is grooming Tagur or other allies for 2028. So he wants to assert that liberation credentials still matter than wealth in ZANU-PF politics. He's also warning Mnangagwa that he can't rewrite the rules to suit his successor. Now, in this interpretation, Tagur is just collateral. The real target is whoever empowered him. Mnangagwa's silence, if he remains silent, it will be very much telling. Now, if Mnangagwa does not publicly defend Tagur, it might suggest that he is hanging him out to dry. But if Tagur continues to get state-linked deals and privileged access, then Mnangagwa's support is tacitly ongoing. And that will inflame tensions even further. Okay, so that is it from me. This is just my initial reaction. We will see as the situation develops. And then if we have anything to add to it, and then we will do another episode, a follow-up episode, or whenever there are developments, and then we will always come out and give our thoughts to this whole situation. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think is happening here? You can send your thoughts, whether it's you are in agreement or you have a differing view. Just send it in the comment section, and then we'll discuss from there onward. So thank you so much for listening. Take care.